There's a bit of a ritual with speed climbing. You'll see the athletes doing the same thing every time. They're allowed to touch the first couple of holds and adjust that timing pad as they do, so it's in the correct position for them. You can see both of them just setting themselves up, making sure everything is perfect. They then face the audience, and our volunteers will clip them into the auto belay. That is what you're looking at now. That attaches to a belay loop on the front of their climbing harness. And as they go up, the auto belay will take in the slack, and then until they fall, it will lower them gradually back down to the earth. So here we go, first qualification round, and they're both off clean, no full starts. But Maria has a big slip down low from Erica Piscopo. Nice and steady from her. Jumps, stops the clock at 8.94. And Maria continues her run. Stopping the clock around about 14 seconds. So the athletes get 2 runs. And it's the best time out of those runs that counts. And the top 16 will move forward into the finals. So Maria will have another chance to race again. So much of speed climbing is a mental game. And it's something they talk about a lot. Of course, you've got to have the physicality, but it's a sport where you have to let things go. Start again. Patrycja Hudziak from Poland versus Capucine Vigiloni from Italy. Capucine there on the left, Patrycja on the right. Now, although the athletes are competing at the same time, it is not a race. As I said before, it's a race against the clock in this qualification stage. It does become a race later on in the finals. I'll go through that when we get there. And right now, the stadium drops into silence,
At your marks.
respecting the start of the race. And it is silent here in the stadium. I feel like I have to whisper, even though I'm a long way from that climbing wall. Off to a good start from both athletes. Patrycja Hudziak, though, had a little hesitation down low. Both of them not entirely clean. 7.9, though, from Capucine Vigiloni. A good time for her. Patrycja Hudziak, 8.26. Now, consider that world record, 6.53 for the women. And the athletes will be trying to get as close as possible to that. Generally, you need time around about 7 seconds in order to progress during IFSC World Cup events. But it all depends on the day, the conditions, and how fast the athletes are going on that day. Anna Broziak versus Alexandra Kluczka. 2 very experienced competitors. Both have the potential to make it into the finals here. It just depends how they're running. It's a slightly overcast day here in Munich. Kluczka on the right, Broziak on the left.
At your marks.
Notice the different way they hold or tuck the auto belay. Some have it in front of them, some round the back of their shoulders.
Ready?
And you can see there, good example. Broziak on the left behind. Kluczka in front. An explosive start from Kluczka. She's on for a good time here as she approaches the top of the wall, stopping the clock at 7.100. And that is a better time and more of an indicator of where they need to be in order to qualify. Broziak looked pretty disappointed in that one. Just over 8 seconds, so not her best. Alexandra Kluczka there, one of 2 sisters who compete, train together, often against each other. Right, next up, Aurelia Sarasson versus Alexandra Miroslav. And Alexandra Miroslav is the current world record holder for the women. It's a 6.53. So keep an eye on the right of your screen. But of course, anything can happen. A slip, a hesitation, that's all it takes to get a world record. It has to be perfect.
At your marks.
It's qualification where we see these world records. So this is an exciting one.
Ready?
Let's wait. Both off clean, no full starts. And look at the speed of Alexandra Miroslav as she slams her way up the wall, increasing as she jumps at a 6.692. Close to her own world record, and suddenly you're aware that the 8-second times are just not going to be enough in a field this stacked to get through. Alexandra Miroslav doing wonders for her finals bid there. First time of asking, she gets close to her own world record. Might not need that second run. about as close to perfect as you can get on that. The jump at the top, the slap, finishing things off. You can see the auto belay just lowering the athletes gently down. Before we move on quickly, Alexandra Kluchka's just competed. Well, this is her sister, Natalia Kluchka on the left, Oksana Burova on the right. Ukraine being represented by a big team, great to see them. And Natalia on the left. I find it fascinating, the routines of the athletes. Each one different. Little idiosyncrasies you'll notice, the way they chalk up, even the way they look out to the audience. Some like the eye contact, others keep their eyes down in their own zone.
Ready?
Off clean again, Alexandra Kluchka, sorry, Natalia Kluchka. Got the sisters mixed up. Good speed from her. Going to stop it round about 7.593. 11.346 for Burova. A mistake down low has cost her. She will get another run. Another opportunity to race again. Let's watch this slip. It was the right foot smearing on the wall that stopped her. Didn't get the momentum needed, had to pause, reset, and all the time the clock is ticking. Natalia immediately shaking out. Another Ukrainian athlete, Julia Randi on the right from Italy. Lina Sishoeva from Ukraine on the left. Julia Randi coming from that youth circuit into the senior team now.
At your marks.
Both athletes, two hands on the first hold. Right foot on the wall, left on the timing pad. Clean start for both. Julia Randi hesitated again. So did Alina. Both women aren't going to get the best of scores here, but they'll still want to carry on, try to find that flow. 1.5 for Julia Randi. Remember, this is not a race against each other, it's a race against the clock. Often we see that when athletes have a bad run like that, it can affect the other climber. You sort of pause, hesitate slightly. Powerful start when both slipped in the same place. And again near the top, watch carefully. That big slip on the left there, you can see, huge, as she went for the final sequence of moves. Beatrice Colli from Italy is out next. Sofia Bellassini, our teammate from Italy. Beatrice on the left. Sofia Bellassini on the right. Beatrice Colli is an up-and-coming athlete, regularly makes finals on the IFSC World Cup circuit. So one of the favourites here this afternoon.
At your marks.
Tends to get fairly frustrated. Needs a good run in order to settle her nerves down a little.
Ready?
No full starts once again. Beatrice Colli then picks up the pace in the middle sector of the wall, finding her flow. She approaches the final jump, stopping the clock at 7.81. That's not bad. A good sighter. Bellassini, 9.399. She'll have to improve that if she wants to progress. And look at the techniques that the athletes are using, and we'll discuss more the intricacies of the route later on. But in the same way as you approach a boulder or a lead climb, there are different methods for doing it. And you'll see Beatrice immediately take her shoes off. That is because she has Haglund's disease on her heel, which makes it really painful to keep the tight climbing shoes on. And the first thing she does is strip them off. Well, Anna Appel versus Julia Koch. Well, not versus, with Julia Koch, I should say. And as expected, the German crowd responds to their athletes. And they've got two at the same time to get hyped up for. How much home crowd advantage will they receive from this, especially with a sport like speed?
Ready?
So they're both off nicely, and the crowd immediately roaring them up the 15-meter speed wall. Koch is going to get a better time, but she did pause. 8.9 for her. Apple 9.015. You can see the reaction time to that timer as well. Full stop, 100th of a second. If you're under that, it is a full start, so you've got to be careful, but you can see how close the athletes are pushing that reaction time. Fighter pilot style reactions for sure. So about halfway through now, and we will return in a minute. Swap lanes, a final set of athletes out. We'll swap lanes and climb again. Second chance. Carla Martinez and Nuria Brockfeldt. Nuria Brockfeldt getting the usual expected cheer from the German crowd. And Carla Martinez, part of Team Spain, which is up and coming in the speed climbing world. They have medalists aplenty within their ranks and good facilities in Spain to train on.
At your marks.
So the athletes turn and face the wall.
Ready?
Crowd drop into silence once again. And off they go, but a big slip from Martinez there. That's going to suffer her time. Brockfeldt, another slip for her. Ah, it's not going to be enough either. 9.49 and 11.83 for Martinez. We'll really get an indication of what times are needed after this first round, so we'll see leaderboard soon, because we are halfway through this women's qualification round. And look at that slip as she went. She didn't have the toe in the right place, and the athletes are working so much of muscle memory here that they know this route by heart, and they see another slip. Often they're not looking at their feet. By now they've learned the route, they're just relying on that muscle memory, and if something is slightly off, you expect the hold to be there. Well, that's where we see those slips. So the times, Alexandra Miroslav top of the leaderboard with a 6.69. Closest to her is Alexandra Gluchka, 7.100. We go down the leaderboard, looking for 16. So, some solid times, and a lot of the athletes will be using this first round of timing just to get a time in. Worst thing is if you have double slips or 2 full starts, definitely won't progress. So you need to get at least 1 time in the books, and then the second run, well, that's when you throw caution to the wind, go a little faster. Once you've got 1 in the books. Oh, when's the moment to unleash it? So we return again. Now Maria is someone who needs to get a better time. She's on the left. And Erica Piscopo on the right this time. They swap sides. And there's quite a lot of debate, especially during the finals, about which lane is better. Some athletes preferring to see their competitors, others don't want that distraction, because if you're on the left, you just look outwards, whereas if you're on the right, well, you can see the other athlete more easily. But for fairness, we swap lanes. So Maria has it all to do here. The brutality of speed means her comp could be done already if she doesn't set a good time here. Well, she's underway clean, keep an eye on it. Oh, but she slips again and again. As does Erica Piscopo, so full of errors for both women. And that will be disappointing. An 11 and a 12 seconds is unlikely to be enough to go through. Both as they come down, I think shared a look there. They both know. And this is the thing with speed. You train, you put everything into it, and it's all done in a couple of seconds. Big slips throughout. Just double slips. And that was the look for Maria. Just a shake of the head. It's such a brutal sport. Well, Patricia Hujiak is back. Capucine Viglione as well. They'll know their PBs. They'll know what they're capable of. Just a case of eliminating mistakes. And of course, this is such a big stage to compete on that nerves do play a part.
Ready?
Both are off clean. A little hesitation. Viglione, she's recovering, and then the slip comes. Capucine still carries on. Hujiak stops the clock at 7.6. Capucine 10.5. 7.6 is good. She's around where she needs to be. I think she thinks she's done enough. Looks content with that. Let's watch for the slips here. Left foot letting her down. Big kick back, sliding off the wall. It looked more clean, and that was the final jump. It's a long way. I have dabbled in speed climbing myself, and that final jump, full body length up there. And of course, if you haven't got the momentum coming into the final jump, well, you can't complete it. And I've had cases of athletes missing that timing pad before. Kicking the legs, trying to keep everything mobile, warm, moving. Alexandra Kaluchka on the left. Anna Broziak on the right. Both women should be making finals here.
At your marks. Ready?
They wait for the buzzer and get off clean. And it's Broziak who explodes off the starting pad. But look at the speed of Kaluchka in the second half of the route. 6.994 will certainly progress her into the finals. And that little smile comes out. Blow out of the breath as well. She's done enough. Anna Broziak as well. That should be 7.62. I mean, it looks slow in comparison, but it was a fast time. Let's watch that camera angle. That's all there is to it. And she has done enough to move forward. As with every climber, the look down at the skin is mandatory pretty much, regardless of what discipline you do in climbing. The skin plays such an important factor in friction. And on pain levels as well. It's hard to climb at your limit when you've got thin, painful skin. Many techniques the athletes will use to make sure their skin is ready as possible. It was something the lead in boulderers were suffering from yesterday, having had 4 days of continuous climbing. So Alexandra Miroslav, she is currently the fastest here this afternoon. Aurélia Sarrasin on the right.
Ready?
Off to a good start. Sarrasin slips, she's gone, but Miroslav continues. Remember that world record, we get close to it, 6.636. I mean, that is about as close as you can come to breaking her own world record. Aurélia Sarrasin, 12.24, that won't count towards the finals place, but Alexandra Miroslav, wow. An indication of the form she's in, immediately an indication to the other women that she is the one to beat, and that was the slip from Aurélia. Big slip as she went up. Watch the way she climbs, using the side of her body, turning away from the wall. Not the most flattering of shots, but shows the effort in that final dyno jump. Oksana Burova versus Natalia Kaluchka. They tried to whittle their first times down. You see Burova there moving the starting pad to be in her preferred position. Ropes clipped on. Chalk is applied.
At your marks.
And take your marks. Order is given.
Ready?
Kaluchka firing off the starting pad. it's the second half of the route that both the Kalichka sisters excel in. 7.32, that's enough. Burova at the top hesitated. 9.787 for her. Could have gone faster. Now, time is important here because the way it's arranged during the final, the fastest is versus the slowest. So, obviously, you want to be seated in the correct position to give yourself the easiest journey through the finals. And we'll go through that later on, but that's why the athletes will go as fast as they come in the second round as well. They want to qualify high up the order to get a good seeding position. That was the slip on the final hole that would have saved a second and a half, I reckon. That's the disappointment on her face. And Julia Randy is back under her slip in the first. Lena on the right. Lena as well had a big slip, so both these women something to prove in the second race, and the pressure heaps up. One final chance to try to get in here.
At your marks. Ready?
Good start from both women. No full starts here this afternoon, but it's not the fastest. Shisariva stops the clock at 8.67 and 8.84 from Julia Randy. She came back in the final half. We'll have to wait and see once the dust settles. And she's looking disappointed after that first round. It's so difficult to put a second run together when you know a slip will pave your competition. Pace for the women. You can see the overhang in the wall. It's not dead vertical. Often looks it from a front-on perspective. It's that side angle where you can see the ever so slight overhang. Sofia Bellassini will race on the left and Beatrice Colli on the right. Chalk is applied. In the same way as if you watch a gymnastics competition, you watch the athletes chalking up in order to improve the grip on the bars or the rings. A similar thing in climbing.
At your marks.
Both women
Ready?
line up and ready. Slightly different hand positions at the beginning. An explosive start for both. Patricia Colli is coming back, finding her flow in the last part, but she hesitated down low. An 8.10 for Bellassini. Colli stopping it at 8.212. A lot in it. And they will be nervously waiting backstage in a minute to see if they progress. The jump for the timing pad. So often races are won in the air. And there you go, straight off with the shoe. That's her trademark. 2 to go, and 2 German athletes, Julia Koch, Anna Appel. Swap lanes. It's all about getting pumped up, but not too pumped up. Don't want to overcook it. Such a fine line, isn't it?
At your marks.
Both look in the zone. The crowd
Ready?
deathly silent. Respect shown for both German athletes, but it's not the best of start for both of them. Anna Appel falls. Julia Koch holds on, but at the same time they had a moment. And Julia Koch stops the time at 11.917, but it will not be enough, not good enough at that time. And Anna Appel is already gone. First real fall we've seen. You can, if you slip and you're still holding on, pull yourself back onto the wall, but Anna Appel was gone. Leaves the stage in disappointment. This was the slip, let's watch it. So she reached up, off, and then momentum pulling her backwards. Couldn't get back towards the wall. Look, left hand, the pop, the slip, and the horrible lowering descent to the ground after only a couple of meters for her. Well, I told you it was a blink and you miss it style competition, this, and As if by magic, we're on to our final two competitors. Carla Martinez on the right from Spain, Nuria Brockfeld, another German athlete, on the left. Both women ready to go.
At your marks. Ready?
Good start from Brockfeld. Maria slips down low. Sorry, Carla Martinez slips down low. Brockfeld, though, continuing upwards, jumps 8.56. That could be enough. Not the fastest times going down here in Munich for the women. Might squeak her in, we'll have to see. Lucky for Carla Martinez, let's watch her moment. It was the right foot, and then the left couldn't recover and almost took a fall. Rotating across the wall. Right, just couldn't find any purchase, lost it. Almost cartwheeled down towards the ground. Managed to hold on. And you can see by her face, she thinks she's gone through. Well, we will get updated on the scores in a second. Mascot is spraying water on the bottom right. It's not so hot today. Well, that is confirmation. Because the best time is taken, the worst eliminated. So a couple of times in the 7, Alexandra Miroslav way ahead. But a 6.692, close to her own world record. A couple of 7s, and into the 8s after that. And the top 16 line, well, that Carla Martinez, 11.837 was not enough. You had to get at least 9. That was the score for the women here this afternoon in Munich. It changes every competition, of course, depending on conditions. Well, let's watch some replay, shall we, of all the action that we've just witnessed from the women's qualifiers. Well, the women's qualifiers is done. The men's will be up next. And in the same way as there is a cleaning period for the men, well, you can see the route setters on the wall on the left, making sure the holds are cleaned, brushed, all the excess chalk taken off. Still a bit of chalk left on. You want to have that full grip. And the men are up next. We move straight forward, and some fast people in the qualifications. The world record holder, Kemal Katabin, is not here. He's an Indonesian athlete and obviously not competing in the European Championship, so less of an opportunity for a world record to go down, but do not underestimate the power of this crowd to spur the athletes to ever faster times, because it's packed in the stadium. Daniel Baldirev down the bottom. Giant of a man. Wait till you see him compete. This is the crowd, and I tell you what, there are more people here for speed than there were for the lead and boulder. Every available space is filled with people. Not once has that mascot shot a t-shirt in my direction. That one went outside the stadium. Well, as you can see, the world record, Kemal Katabin, 5 seconds dead. He'll be watching at home. And we do actually head to Jakarta soon, his hometown, for the IFSC World Cup. Can't wait to see their training facility. What exactly the Indonesian team are doing to make their athletes so fast. And once again, we get to see the behind the scenes of the athletes' preparation. Eric Neuer there on screen quickly. He has huge potential for a medal here. Very different from the behind the stage for the bouldering and lead. Matthew Fall there from Great Britain. Team GB's best chance, well, and only chance, for a speed medal. There is Eric Neuer. And look at the physicality of the men. You'll notice a size difference between them and lead and boulderers. Lead climbers and boulderers, well, extra muscle means they have to carry extra muscle up. And although they are ripped individuals, they are not as shredded as the speed climbers because they need a different set of muscles, especially in the legs. These are big men. And their warm-ups, let me tell you, are terrifying in their intensity. Never seen anything like it when the men get going. Women too, just pure power in the warm-up areas. So the German crowd, of course, get behind Sebastian Luca on the left, Alessandro Bulas from Italy on the right. If you're just joining us, welcome to Munich. We're here for the European Championships. My name is Matt Groom, and we are watching the men's speed qualification. We just had the women. 16 athletes making it through to the finals, which will be starting at 3:30 this afternoon. So in about half an hour's time, we'll have finished with the men. A brief break.
Ready?
We progress to the finals. Great shot on the starting pad as the men explode off. You're going to have to get in the fives, probably at least low sixes, and 6.045 for Sebastian Luca. Alessandro Bulas fell low down. His score is still ticking on, as you can see. So he'll get to climb again. Remember, it's the best score out of 2 they pick. So you have one opportunity to mess up. It does put pressure on your second run if you do it on the first one. And this was Alessandro's fault. Sometimes he's just not there. Well, Matthew Fall comes out for GB. One of our youngest, newest competitors racing, Bassa Mawem, recovering from a bicep tear in the Olympics. Good to see him back on the stage. From Team France, Matthew Fall. He was my co-commentator in Chamonix. Team GB hasn't necessarily got the history of speed climbers. They're starting to come through, and he is one of this new generation making a play. And of course, the Olympics gets their own medal.
Ready?
Both off to a good start. Bassa Mawem, though, powering through the top section, and look at the difference. 5.735, and Matthew Fall, 7.040. That's a good time, but Bassa Mawem, wow. First time we see under 6 seconds here this afternoon. Matthew Fall did well. We'll have to wait and see if that will be enough. Pause cost him half a sec there. Great to see Bassa Mawem back. A little wave to the crowd. Tries to keep in his zone. They'll celebrate later when all is said and done and finished. So from Austria, Dorian Zedler and Lukas Knapp. Sorry, Dorian Zedler from Germany, Lukas Knapp from Austria. Nerves and tan lines there on the left from Dorian. Lukas Knapp looking
At your
down
marks.
in his zone. Oh, a big dramatic spin there. Again, part of his routine.
Ready?
Here we go. Both off clean. Lukas Knapp, though, what speed from that man as he powers upwards. Watch the clock. 6.133. Zedler's 8.358, and that's not going to be enough. Lukas Knapp, though, sets a good time early on. nods his head. I think he knows that will be enough here this afternoon. He's got one in the books, and that was the pause, just didn't have it. And then you've got to start all over again from zero, no speed, and somehow find more power. Just didn't have that left foot on, did he? Good recovery, but by then it's all over, really. Well, Eric Neuer on the right, Guillermo Moro on the left. Both athletes who should make finals here. But expect some fast times.
At your marks.
Here we go. Both athletes turn. Eric Neuer on the right.
Ready?
Guillermo Moro on the left. Here we go. Watch the clock. Both athletes neck and neck. Moro is ahead at the moment in terms of time, but look at that acceleration from Eric Neuer in the top. Moro 6.053. Eric Neuer 6.067. Both good times. Eric hesitated though. He could improve. Let's watch it there. There was a little, I mean, I say hesitated. I mean, there were two minor pauses. But you can see immediately slapped his hands. He knows it wasn't perfect, but they're good times, and it might be enough. Eric Neuer's acceleration in the top of that route was something to watch, wasn't it? I couldn't call the time between them. I'm glad there's a mechanical stopwatch doing it for us. Well, Gianluca Zotta from Italy. Alejandro Rivas Iguez from Spain on the left.
At your marks.
Chalking out right to the last second, then drops the chalk bag down. Most of these men will be doing the Tomoe Narasaki start, skipping a hole. Oh, but Slaughter slips down low. Oh, and a slip at the top, 7.37 for Rivas. Might not be enough, and Slaughter's having a bit of a nightmare on the right. But carry on, just to sort of get into the zone. It's all going to come down to his second run. That was before. Big slips from him. Right at the top of the wall. Head in his hands. He knows it won't be enough. Luka Zoda had a bit of a nightmare, didn't he? Yeah. That says it all, doesn't it? Well, who gets a reset? We move on. Leander Carmens versus Konstantin Pavlenko. We're beginning to know the times now, and certainly low sevens are needed at the moment. The German team sporting the hairstyles that we've seen. All of the climbers had a session with the dye before this. So they set. Ready.
Ready.
And it's a fast start for Pavlenko on the left. The Carmens comes back. What acceleration from him. 6.18 and a 6.15. Low sixes for both. Good runs. Look pretty clean. Second half, just found another gear, didn't it? That was all that was in it. It's interesting how high on that starting pad Carmens went there. You want to stop it really quite low, and yet, as you can see, he went quite high on it, so he would have saved himself a couple of tenths by going lower. Flicking the heel off his shoes as he goes. Jaroslav Tach on the left, Alessandro Singari on the right. Alessandro tall. Look at the size. Jaroslav Tach.
At your marks.
It's the only aspect where size can play a difference. Just to the pure physicality of the athletes and the speed they can generate. Still no full starts, that's good to see. Power of attach is faster. 5.93, again we break into the fives. Singari, 6.199, that's good. I'll have to wait and see. Rituals, chalk being flaked off. You want chalk in your hands, but you don't want excess chalk. You can roll as much as it's not enough. And there was a slight right foot pop there, wasn't there? Would have been a little cleaner. Good times from both men. Lorenz Bodensdorfer on the left from Austria. Matteo Zaloni from Italy on the right. Team Italy. Represented well, who were representing the lead and Boulder.
At your marks.
You can go back and watch that if you haven't seen those competitions. Good finals that took place over the weekend.
Ready?
Good start from Bodensdorfer. Oh, a big slip from Zolini. He goes down. He has reset, but he won't get a good time. But Bodensdorfer 6.357. I said low sixes are enough, but is that low enough? Certainly Matteo Zaloni will have to race again. He took a long time to reset, knew his race was over and just wanted clean for the rest of it. Good top section of the route. Bodensdorfer. He was good in Innsbruck in his own World Cup. Linus Bader from Germany. Big puff out of there as he came, hyping himself up. And then Marcin Dienski on the left, a bit of a legend. There are a lot of legends in the speed climbing lineup when you look down. From Poland. He will be expecting a finals place. So should Linus Bader.
At your marks. Ready?
That's the timing pad, making sure everything is perfect. Dienski off with a powerful start. Half a body length well. Bader slips. That won't count. 5.759. That's one of the better ones we've seen. Marcin Dienski set a good enough score. Job done. One in the books and a fast one. Just look at the power of those legs. I can't actually tell if that shot's been speeded up or not. Certainly that one's been slowed down. You have to sometimes slow it down just to see the intricacies of what they're doing. And see how lightweight these speed climbing harnesses are. Bit different from lead climbing harnesses. Some of the athletes will wear a more traditional, but you can see both these men, Daniel Boldyrev, Peter Burien, lightweight harnesses. They don't need to be comfortable for speed, they just need to do the job protecting the athletes. Any extra weight, of course, you have to carry up, so you want to minimize that. These harnesses actually are attached by the carabiner itself rather than being one piece of material. Depends on the harness. You can see the difference there. It pulls it a different way as well, but lightweight is key. Now, Daniel Boldyrev is pretty special to watch. He uses a different technique from the other athletes. Instead of dodging the first hold, he goes all the way to the left, and that's just due to his size. And look at that power from Daniel Boldyrev as he accelerates through the top, and a 5.782 from him gets him into the finals, or it should do. I'm scared of saying he's definitely through until he is, of course, but One of the faster times we've seen so far. And he seems to pull the top of the wall closer towards himself rather than the other way around. Giant of a man. Intimidating when he's climbing, but absolutely lovely to talk to. Oh, and he slipped at the top. I didn't see that, so not setting a time. Have to touch the timing pad. Let's watch again. So he had a slide with a left foot, look, and he's short on the timing pad. So no time set, and that's what can happen. I mean, we talked about how big that jump is, and that was a good example of it. Gotta be precise. Jan Kritz from Czech Republic. Alessandro Bulos on the left.
At your marks.
Take your marks is given. Wait for the triple beeps.
Ready?
Well, it's a good start from both men. Bulos, though, accelerating. It's going to be quick for him. Low sixes. No, it's a 5.89. 6.35 for Jan Kritz. He's going to have to bring that down a little. Alessandro Bulos, though, that's good. Under 5 for him as well. Looked like it was going to be low sixes, but he pulled something out at the end. Well, that's halfway through the men's quali. That means we get a swap of lanes. Great top sequence for him. Well, we have our brief pause. We look at the scores. Top fives all under 6. That's a Mauer. What a score from him, 5.73. Just behind him, Masin Diensky. Going Bodarev after that. Going down into the 6s, and they are low 6s though. And this is going to be close. Linus Bader, so remember the top 16. So Linus Bader currently is in the danger zone if we were just to take that first round, but we have 2 best score counts, but an indication of the time. So at least low 7s currently, 6s preferable. And certainly, if we look at previous World Cups, low 6s are usually required. We are missing the Chinese and the Indonesian athletes who are so quick. They are the best in the world currently. The European athletes pulling something out with those 5s. So that is our current leader, Bassa Mauer, top seed at the moment. Sebastian Luca on the right. He had a slip before. He needs to set a better time here. So last chances,
At your marks.
especially for those who didn't set a good time. But remember, it's all about the seeding as well. So Bassa Mauer will not be slowing down on this run. And he doesn't. Left, right, legs pumping. A little hesitation in the middle, but it will be good. 5.826 for him. And a good reaction time as well. 5.973 for Luca, and you can see now why low 6s or 5s are going to be important, especially when the athletes start to unleash their full potential in the second run. The intensity of speed is something special, isn't it? It's probably the simplest aspect of the sport of climbing to understand. There are 3 disciplines, remember. Boulder, lead, and speed. And speed, I mean, the concept is obvious, isn't it? It's just a race. First against the clock, then against the competitor. But don't be put off if you're watching this from watching the boulder and lead, because although more complicated in their structure, they're equally exciting. So Matthew Fall got low 7s before. He needs to improve. Lucas Knapp on the left, very fast. So we wait for the buzzers.
Ready?
Matthew Fall with a better start, keeping in touch now. Watch the clock, but a slight slip in the middle, and now 6.03, and that is a better time for Matthew Fall with a 6.58. Will that be enough, though? He is coming closer and closer, is Matthew Fall, to where he needs to be for finals positions. Hasn't been in the GB squad that long. Good times from both men. We start to see the times dropping, as we knew they would in this second round. Matthew Fall with an eye on the clock. Now, Eric Neuer can go faster. We know he can. Dorian Zedler needs to improve as well, but Eric Neuer was quite set. He won't be content, trust me. Nod of a head to the crowd. He knows what needs to be done here. Chalk back down. Silence once again drops.
Ready?
Eric Neuer explosive off the start as expected. Zedler in touch though, slowing now in the middle section. Neuer, 5.647 and a 6.668 for Zedler. That will be enough for Eric Neuer. Zedler's going to have to wait. So, Eric Neuer, a nod. That's all he tends to give, but you wait if that man gets near a podium. It will be a different celebration when he does, if he does. Oh, I'm so excited for the final later on. I hope you are too. Two more up as we near the end of this qualification period. Gianluca Zoda on the left, Guillermo Moro on the right from France. Team France as well, with a big squad here at the European Champs. Silver medal for Sam Abazu in the boulder.
At your marks. Ready?
Good start from both men. Clean. We haven't seen a single full start. Moro coming back through the top. 5.8. We're all under the sixes at the moment, aren't we? 5.887 with Zoda. 5.801 for Moro. Suddenly those sevens, you realise they're not enough. So that was the spin towards the wall, then the athlete set, then the explosion, accelerating all the way through. The middle part so important, and then you have to finish strong, which both did. Almost neck and neck all the way. Hard to call who even got closest there. Remember, this is not against each other at this stage. We race later on. Right now, it's a stopwatch. Imagine a Formula One race weekend. You start off against the clock, and then it's a race, and the clock becomes less important, but it's an indication of how fast they need to go to beat each other. Here we go. Another race.
At your marks.
Hope your hands are sweaty. Mine are. Leander Carmen's on the left, Alejandro Rivas Dominguez on the right.
Ready?
Clean from both men. The clock starts ticking, but Carmen's hesitates, stops. He has to reset. It's not going to be the best time for him. Still a 6.66. What could have been for that man? And a 6.387 for the Spanish climber. Well, that might not be enough, but what could have been for Leander Carmen's if he hadn't have fallen? Or slipped. Didn't really fall, did he? Let's watch again. It was off well. Oh, that was it. But look, such a big pause. And to start again and still get in the sixes. Well, that's special. Yeah, frustration from him. Clear. speed climbing works like that sometimes. There is an element of the luck on the day. How are you feeling? Has everything come together? Have you got your lucky clover? Because it can come down to that. Alessandro Zingari from Italy. Konstantin Pavlenko from Ukraine.
At your marks.
Here we go.
Ready?
Fast start for Pavlenko, better, but then Zingari finds something. Oh, and a fall from him. Wow, 6.105 for Pavlenko. Zingari just came to pieces on the bottom section. Pavlenko shaking his head, perhaps thinks he could have squeezed a bit more, and it's going to be tight for that top 16. It's Alessandro, though. Let's see. The left started the problem, and then he just got out of sequence, didn't he? Pavlenko was strong throughout, but he did shake his head, indicating perhaps he had a little left, a bit more to give. Final 4 athletes now, or final 4 races. 8 athletes. There's that dash, Matteo Zaloni from Italy. Banging that hold. Now the holds are set up in a very specific way, and in fact that QR code that's on them, that helps the route setters know exactly where they're positioned, because it must be the same. These athletes practice the route time and time again. If it's slightly out, as you can imagine, well, it would ruin everything, so these need to be perfect for them.
At your marks.
On your marks given. We wait.
Ready?
Jaroslav Tach off fast, no mistakes so far, powering through the top, 2 hands on, and a 5.697 for him and a 6.049 for Zaloni. It's going to be so tight to separate this top 16. Interesting looking at the scores.
Ready?
It's interesting that almost the 6 seconds looks slow. Body length, that's all it is. That's all it takes. That Auto Belay lowering them down to the ground, and a wave and a smile from him. So Linus Bader and Lawrence Budensdorfer from Austria.
At your marks.
One final slap on the legs, getting themselves ready as they face the wall, away from the audience.
Ready?
15 meters between them and a final place. Oh, and a big slip for both athletes. And a fall for Bader, neither recovering, and this is not going to be good times, obviously. And that won't be enough for finals, but head in hand, you can barely look at that German crowd. It was a slip, a hesitation, and a fall. Bodensdorfer as well, although he topped out, it's not going to be a quick enough time for the final on that run. Look at the slips from both men. Bodensdorfer just holding on, but Bader slipped, double slipped, and then let go and fell. Head down as he was lowered. Oh, heartbreak from the German crowd. You can see their reaction as well as their athlete slipped twice, fell, head in his hands. At the end of his European Championship bid. 2 more races. Peter Burian, Marcin Dienski. Marcin getting a great time before. I want to continue this momentum. Every time these athletes do well, they just build on that in terms of confidence.
At your marks.
Here we go. They turn 2 hands on.
Ready?
You can use those 2 starting holds however they please. Burian, what reaction time. Well, from both of them, right on the limit. Dienski, this is going to be quick. just over 6 seconds for him. Burian 6.650. It's really hard to call. I'm trying to make some of these calculations as we go along, but low sixes needed. Quite a few fives as well, so that would have taken the first in those 8 places, I think. So our final race here as Daniel Boldyrev strolls out to the speed wall, and Jan Kritz on the left. Ukraine flag held high for Daniel Boldyrev.
Aber es geht natürlich darum, sich zu steigern, den ganz Großen aus dem Weg zu gehen.
At your marks.
So both men turn and face. Daniel Boldyrev slower. Jan Kritz was there for a long time before the buzzer. Daniel Boldyrev powering off the start. He unleashes something. Jan Kritz slips, hesitates, and a 5.682 from Daniel Boldyrev. Jan Kritz, 6.662 high. Sixes won't get him in, so we'll have to wait for his first score. Well, just like that, qualification is done for speed as we wait for confirmation of the top 16 men. Let's watch a replay of this. Jan Kritz, not as fast as it could have been. Pretty well, there it was. That was the hesitation. That's all it takes. Right, let's get some confirmation, shall we? 16 athletes will progress into the knockout-style tournament of the finals, where we forget about time, and it's all about the competitor. Top 16, Eric Neuer with a 5.647. Fast from him. Fives really needed, especially in that top 7.